In Facebook, there's various ways in which you can structure your campaigns. And so in this video, we are going to discuss the standard Facebook campaign structure, and just let's quickly take a look at what that is. So when you create a campaign, choose some objective. In this case, I'll choose conversions. If you do not select campaign budget optimization, you would generally be using the standard Facebook structure. So what that would mean is that when we move on to the ad set level, so let's call this one standard campaign, and we will say, let's say it's a purchase campaign, and that would be enough, right? So purchases means conversions anyway, so we don't need to call it standard conversions purchases. We mentioned the objective, and we'll talk about naming conventions later on anyway. So we will select the event that we want to optimize for, right? This is our conversion event, and obviously this campaign wants to get as many conversions as possible, right? Our objective is conversions. The conversion that we have selected, the conversion event that we are optimizing, is purchases. And then we need to create an ad quickly. So let's just put the minimum requirements for making an ad, which would be primary text, headline, and description, and the website URL. Right? Perfect. So now we can create our campaign. I think we met all the criteria. We don't have a payment method added yet, but that's not a problem. Right, so now we have a draft campaign. At the campaign level, we have our campaign objective, and we have an ad set, which has its own targeting criteria, placements, and everything that we set at the ad set level, which we are going to be discussing in big details later. And then we have one ad within that ad set. So what's going to happen is, with this $20 daily budget, Facebook is going to try and get us the most purchase events for these $20 by using this ad and showing it to everyone within our ad set criteria, within our targeting, and putting our ads in the correct placements and so on. So everything that we set at the ad set level, which you can take a look at over here, right? So all these optimization goals, dynamic creatives, budgets, scheduling, audiences, targeting, locations, languages, all these things we select at the ad set level. Now, in this case, we are going to spend $20 every day showing that same ad to this audience, or to the people in this ad set's targeting criteria. Now, if we take that ad and duplicate it, let's say we are going to duplicate it 3 times, then what's going to happen is we have now a budget of $20 daily for all 4 ads, right? We set the budget at the ad set level, and this means that these 4 ads are going to have a total budget of $20. Again, up and down by the factors that we mentioned before, like it could be up 20% if you get too many conversions, and if you exhaust your audience and you don't have a sufficient budget, it will stop over there. And sometimes if your audience is too small, maybe you won't even be able to spend that budget. If it's too competitive and your bids are low, for various reasons, it could vary. But roughly what most people would think is that these ads now that they have $20 budget, they would each get $5 per day. However, that's not the case. That's because on the ad set level, we have set an optimization objective, right? Our campaign objective is to optimize for conversions. And at the ad set level, we said we want purchases. So Facebook is going to try and show our ads to this audience, and they're going to show them all 4 ads. And let's say if one ad gets more purchases than the others, it's going to use up more of the budget, and Facebook is going to start showing it more and more often. This is happening automatically. And if you want to break that cycle, you need to create a second ad set with the same targeting criteria and set a specific ad if you want to test it manually. But at this stage, Facebook is going to try and optimize for sure. So if you want to run 2 different ads for the same audience, you need to create 2 different ad sets, give them their own separate budget, and just put different ads there. Now, that wouldn't really make too much sense because Facebook's optimization algorithms are pretty good. So unless you really know what you're doing, don't do that. Generally, if you have one audience, you would have one ad set, and then you could have several ads in that. But we don't always have one audience, right? We want to test not just different ads, but we also want to test different audiences as well, right? Test how different audiences are going to perform. So let's duplicate this one again. And now we are going to end up with 2 ad sets. So let's say that ad set number 1 will have an audience of 18 to 35, just to have some different criteria. We'll call it 18 to 35 and leave it. And then we are going to change the second one to have an audience of, let's say, 36, so they don't overlap, to, let's say, 65 plus. So now we've separated our audience into 2. We need to name it properly just so we know what we've done. And let's say this one is going to be 35 to 65 plus. Oops. 36 to 65 plus, and then save it. Now, what happened though? We separated our audience, but we did not separate our budget. So if we wanted to give half the budget to the first one and half the budget to the second one, we would have to do make each of those 10, because now this audience also has, or this ad set also has $20 budget. So now we've doubled our budget to 40. And this is important to consider. And now also we have 8 ads now, because we have 4 in this one and 4 in this one. They are the same 4, but for this audience, it may be that ad number 2 gets better and gets more sales because it appeals better to this audience, and in this ad set, it might be ad number 1 that appeals to this audience, right? So just to get it clear, we have 2 different ad sets representing 2 different audiences. In this case, 2 different targeting criteria, different sets of people that we're targeting. And then we are showing those people the same 4 ads. We're saying the first audience gets the same 4 and the second gets the same 4. And now our budget is $40. Now we could further duplicate this audience, for example. And say that this one is going to be just for Instagram. And what we are going to do is select the placements over here, get rid of the other ones, and leave just Instagram. And then obviously we are going to go here and edit this one and say that this one is going to be for Facebook, right? We are further separating this audience once more just to make things a little bit more complicated. But these things are going to be very important, trust me. So now we have $20 for this one, $20 for this one, and $20 for this one. So in overall, our budget is 60, and now we have separated this same audience, but now we are targeting different placements as well. So we might have different ads as well. But our budget is going to work like this. And so let's say that we see that this audience, for example, 18 to 35, is going to be our best audience in this case. That would mean that we could probably increase its budget to 50. Now that gives us control over the budget on the ad set level, and we have manual control over it. This is what the standard campaign structure looks like. Now, we have one campaign focused on purchases, but obviously we don't just want one campaign, right? We might want other campaigns for different reasons. So let's make another one, duplicate the first one. Actually, we are going to duplicate it with all of its ad sets and all of its ads for now. And in this case, let's say that we don't want this campaign to have purchases as the goal, but we want it to have as its goal. We can definitely change its objective in general. So we want this one to be for catalog sales, right? The first one is trying to get us as many purchases as we can, but then we want to create a, let's say, dynamic remarketing. So in this case, we are creating a separate campaign with a different objective. And now its budgets are going to be controlled on the ad set level. Obviously, in here, we don't want these guys. We are just going to get rid of them. So we want to make sure that we have the proper campaign selected, the dynamic remarketing campaign. In it, we are going to get rid of these ad sets. And let's say we want to create a specific ad set and give it a name. And let's say that would be let's say add to cart. So we could potentially create an audience for all the people who came to our website, added a product to the cart, but didn't finish their purchase. And then we can remarket them and show them an ad with that same product that they added to their cart with our dynamic remarketing. This is our goal. And then we would set, again, our budget over here at the ad set level. And you can see it automatically decided it's going to be $100. I just want to say that I think that 15 is enough based on our other budget, right? So great. Now we have two campaigns, two different objectives, and we have budget at the ad set level, and that budget is spread between all the ads. And you could have different campaigns for different stages in the customer journey as well. So you could have your awareness campaigns with their objectives and their ad sets and so on. And you could have the consideration campaigns and the conversion campaigns and the purchase campaigns, so on. And you would have a standard campaign structure where each campaign has its own objectives and they all kind of work together, but you kind of manually control that. And all of them are not kind of going towards the same purpose that you set to them. And in the next video, I'll show you how that differs from the campaign budget optimization structure, which dramatically changes how things work. And that's why we structure campaigns there in a very different manner.